So what we're looking at here are a few movie clips and still images of a band called the Rusted Rails. And just about everything with the exception of a couple of images towards the beginning intro and a couple small clips that were taken with a SJ4000, I believe it is. Everything else was taken with the Nikon D7200. Now, we met here at this particular club so I can give them their DVD, which had all their images on here, and also their music videos that they wanted to use for their promotion. On the previous photo shoot, we arranged to bring in and use the band's lighting system that they had, because I always like using backlighting, side lighting, kicker lights, spotlights. It's the same kind of lighting that sometimes I'll use on my portrait and my wedding photography. So here at this particular club, we had very poor lighting. It's actually kind of drab on the inside, very, very dark. And I didn't even plan on doing any photography or video for that matter. But I did have my camera bag in the car, which had my Nikon D7200 in there. And I didn't have any fast lenses with me. However, I did have on my Nikon an 18 to 200 millimeter lens. And as it turned out, it was the best lens for this job. Why do I say that? Because it was the only lens I had with me, and it was the lens that was on my camera. As I always like to say, the best lens to use is the one that's on your camera. So I really had no choice. But of course, I would rather have used maybe something faster. But anyway, I didn't even have any lights or lighting modifiers. I didn't have a tripod. I did have a Zoom audio unit, the Zoom H2N that I used to record. I asked the lead singer if I could record a couple of his original songs that he had written and sang. And I just pieced these together. I didn't even record the whole song on the camera. I just used a few different clips here and there and added some stills. But I figured this would be a good way of testing out the D7200 against some really low light using high ISO, International Standards Organization, or better known as ISO. Now, on the inside here, I used ISOs starting at 6400, and I did many at ISO 10,000, and actually quite a few at 25,600, which is, I think, the maximum that the D72 goes up to. And the camera's pretty spectacular. Now, as you may or may not know, if you get your exposure very, very accurate, your image quality is going to be a lot better, because once you fine-tune images, you have to adjust the levels and so on. You may be bringing up or having an effect on some of the noise in the image, especially at the high ISOs. So the better your exposure on here, the better image quality you're going to get. The still images that you're looking at are photographed in JPEG, so it didn't have a lot of control on the images. However, on some of these images, I did use Nik Color Effects Pro just to add a little bit more variety and a little bit of impact to some of the images. In my career as a photographer, I was primarily a still photographer selling still images. However, now I'm finding that I'm making movies more and more now. So I really like using my Nikons. And I know a lot of other people that do video like using the Canon system, especially their full frames. And they also have one, I believe it's called a 70D, now the 80D, which has a touchscreen on there. And I understand now also that Nikon came out with their D5500, which I was doing a lot of research on, looking it over, and I'm considering possibly getting that. I think that would be a good mix with my D7200, because I really love that camera. It is just amazing. I don't want to go into a full frame because I'm semi-retired, but just doing a few jobs here for enjoyment, and I love the craft. So, but anybody out there who has a different opinion and actually has done this type of work, If you have a different opinion or you agree with that, let me know, because I'd like to get your take on that, because I'm considering looking at, as I mentioned, the Nikon D7500. Now, primarily when I do my filming, I'm using manual focus. As I'm doing now, I'm using the D7200 manual focus. On this video, towards the end of it, I switched to autofocus, and then you can see towards the end how, as I move the camera around, it's searching for a focus point, and that's just natural. However, that's the reason that I wanted to check into using that touchscreen focus, so if I have a certain focus point, I'm able to move around a little bit and I should still be able to stay in focus. So I think that might be a good combination. So anyway, I just figured this might be kind of interesting to share with you, so you can see mainly the quality of the super high ISO and low light situation, the quality of these images. Thank you very much for watching.